A while ago, I talked about how the nobles and Overlord betrayed Zanic in order to save their own skin, and as a result of this, not only did Ainz lie to them saying that they were all safe, but he gave them a fate worse than death, and that is by sending them to Nazarick in order to be tortured for the rest of their lives, even if they beg for death. In that scenario, I think it was 100% justified that these nobles paid the price for their betrayal because, well, they betrayed someone that was doing everything they could in order to protect their kingdom. However, this next character is a character that I believe doesn't deserve the fate that they got, and I consider this to be one of the most tragic fates in Overlord, and that is the fate that Climb was in after season 4. Now, Climb as a character isn't really too important to the main story of the series. However, he is a side character that got a very interesting side story in the series, and I think that's the reason why Overlord is really good at world building, because it even gives the characters, the side characters, their own side stories. Even if they're not majorly impactful to the main story, it's still very nice to know the characters of this series, and Climb was one of these characters. Now, Climb in any other series would be considered the protagonist of that series, because Climb is pretty much the definition of a protagonist. He's a person who has good intentions, clearly wants to save people, and wants to protect the people that he loves and cares. And this is greatly shown when he is very clearly loyal to Princess Renner. As you all know, if you have watched the series or read it, you would know that Princess Renner has somebody that's always by her side in order to protect her from any kind of danger, and that is Climb. And the reason why Climb is so loyal to Renner is because Renner was somebody that actually saved Climb in the past. You see, Climb used to actually live on the streets, and it was very clear that nobody wanted to take care of him. That is until Renner spotted him and decided to help him out. And ever since that day, Climb has sworn loyalty to Renner because she was the person that saved him from a very terrible lifestyle, and because of that, he vows to protect her no matter what, and that he's always going to be by her side. This of course makes Renner very happy, but it's not because of the good intentions that she makes it seem to be. You see, Renner, as you all know, is a very twisted and evil person that is clearly doing a lot of not so great things behind the scenes. Of course, this is very obvious as the series clearly shows us in the moments with Renner that Renner clearly has something sinister inside of her, but she just doesn't really show it, and that's probably the most dangerous part about Renner and why she was able to get away with it for a really long time. Renner, just like Climb, seems to be really glad that Climb is by her side, and it's very clear that she really has a lot of strong feelings towards Climb. However, these feelings aren't normal, and you'll soon find out very quickly why that's the case. In reality, Renner views Climb as a very faithful dog, and the reason being is very obvious because, well, Climb does anything that Renner tells him to do. She knows very well that Climb is very loyal to her because of what she did in the past, and because of that, she used that to her full advantage, knowing how she could keep Climb in control into making sure that he doesn't know who she truly is. Because while there have been moments in which Climb has kind of questioned some of the things she has said or done, it's very clear quickly that Renner knows how to make sure that Climb doesn't question it any further and tries to sound convincing that what she is doing or saying is with good intentions, when that is far from the case. And to further prove how Renner sees Climb as a loyal dog than a person, during her private conversation with Albedo asks Renner if she could tell more about her puppy, this being Climb, and it seems that Renner has no issues with that statement that Albedo said. Of course, there are going to be some people that are going to say that maybe she was just putting up an act or pretending that that comment didn't offend her because, well, in the past, she has shown that whenever somebody tries to make fun of Climb or makes very nasty comments about him, Renner is going to do something about that person and making that person pay the ultimate price for insulting Climb. However, in this moment, it seems that she doesn't really do anything about the comment that Albedo made, and the reason being is very simple. It's because Albedo is a very smart individual. She knows how Renner is truly feeling and could tell very quickly that Renner may be putting up an act, but in this moment, that's not the case. Renner doesn't put up an act, and it's very clear that she feels exactly the same way that Albedo views Climb. She views Climb like a dog. That's the reason why Renner wasn't offended by Albedo's comment. And then you fast forward towards the kingdom when it was being taken over by Ainz and his army, in which Climb's main priority was protecting Renner, making sure that she wasn't the victim of the catastrophe that was about to happen, unknowing that Renner was part of the reason why the kingdom was being taken over by Ainz, and not realizing that all this time Renner had intentions of betraying the kingdom for her own dreams and goals. And then during the fight between him and Ainz, Climb was visibly infuriated betrayed by Ainz because he believed that Ainz was the one that made Renner kill the king, when that was not the case, because in reality Renner was going to kill the king regardless, because once again she was in Nazarek's side. But of course, because she's very good at acting and making it seem that she was a helpless victim, this of course is the reason why Climb thought that she wasn't capable of doing such a very terrible thing on her own, and that somebody made her do it. And even though Climb tried his best to take down Ainz, ultimately there was no way Climb was going to beat Ainz, and he was very easily defeated. But this wouldn't be the end for Climb, because even though he was defeated by Ainz very easily, he still managed to survive, and the reason being was thanks to Renner, because as it turns out, this was Renner's plan this entire time. You see, when Renner was explaining to Climb how he managed to survive the Battle of Ainz, she explains to Climb that she actually made a deal with Ainz saying that she will become a demon in order to save Climb's life. However, in reality, this was all part of Renner's plan, because she had intentions of becoming a demon very early on, since as you all know, she was given an item called the Falling Seed in which she could actually turn into a demon. But in order to make that happen, she needed to make sacrifices. However, it wasn't just her that she wanted to be a demon, she wanted Climb to be a demon as well. That's why in these moments she asked Climb if he would willingly become a demon for her, and because once again Climb is very loyal to her, Climb decides to accept his fate. And I think this is really a tragic moment for Climb as a character, because in reality this is not something that he wanted to do. You can very quickly tell this is not a choice that was chosen by him. No, this fate was already decided by Renner, the person that he thought was a good person and that somebody that would never do any terrible things, when in reality she is very willing to do whatever it takes to achieve her dreams and goals. And these moments here showcase that, because like I said, she was able to convince Climb to accept his fate of becoming a demon so that he and her could be forever together, since they're now immortal, because that's one of the things that Renner always wanted. She always wanted to be by Climb's side for the rest of her life, and it seems in these moments she got what she wanted. And what makes these moments even more sadder is the fact that Climb will never really truly know what kind of evil person Renner really is, because all this time he was just filled with nothing but lies. He thought that the person that he was being loyal to was somebody that had good intentions and somebody that deeply did care about him. And to while some extent Renner does care about Climb, her caring of Climb is actually more twisted, because if you think about it, Renner is just simply in fact just obsessed with Climb. She was very open about it throughout the series, but she makes it even more clear when she shows just how excited she is, and she starts wondering what she should do with Climb now that they're both going to be together forever, since they're now both going to be demons, further showing just how crazy Renner is and how her plan worked out just the way she wanted, and can now fully express very openly the kind of person she truly is. And she knows that Climb isn't going to question it, because he's just simply going to believe that the reason why she acts that way is because of her demon transformation. And that's really the tragic story of Climb as a character. Afterwards, his life isn't going to be the same ever again, and unlike the nobles during the whole betrayal of Zanic situation, in which they chose to betray Zanic, in which they chose to pretend to be loyal to Nazarek and Ainz when that's not really the case, they only did that because they only cared about themselves. That is not the case in Climb's fate. Climb didn't choose to have the life that he's going to have now with Renner. He didn't want the life that he's going to have now. No, he was sadly just a victim by someone he thought was a good person. All this time, while Climb had his own goals and his own motivations and his own beliefs, that didn't really matter, because in reality from the very start he was already fully in control by Renner. Renner was already in control of Climb. She knew that no matter what happened, no matter what she was going to do, she knew that Climb was never going to leave her, because she knew that as long as he doesn't know what kind of person he truly is and what's her actual true plans, then everything was going to be okay, and that Climb wasn't going to leave her side because of his loyalty towards her. And that is why Climb is the character with the worst fate in the Overlord series. And that's pretty much my entire video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.